I walked away from my husband after his drinking and violence, believing I found salvation with a divorced friend who treated me sweetly at first. But soon he mocked me, used me like a maid, compared me to his ex, and finally replaced me with her. I divorced my husband, and nothing turned out like I thought it would. It has really been hard for me to recover my post from my old account. I did not follow up on my first post, and I left it forgotten, but reading this post again has brought back memories that seemed forgotten. What a mess all of that turned out to be. It is just that I really felt that way at that time. It is not that a lot of time has passed either, but it is 5 years of my life that will not come back, not only mine, but of everyone involved. I am not going to lie, I have cried a lot these days. I looked for memories in my things and in my head. I put on songs from the time when I was married. I had a glass of wine and opened a bottle from the Christmas that we never finished with my ex. I brought it to my new house. We have all done that at least once in our lives. For a long time I was unable to understand my husband, but now I understand him perfectly and his way of punishing himself for the death of his parents. I punished myself during these last 2 years by being in a relationship where I was only humiliated over and over again. I did it because for 3 years I silenced the voice that told me I had acted badly with my husband, but I reached a point where I had to accept that I had in fact made the biggest mistake of my adult life. It is only 5 years, but I feel like I have lived 15. I have to unpack, but I will post again. Now I am finishing moving. Well, I have already moved in actually, but I have not been in the mood to unpack my things for now. For the moment, I have a bed and a mattress, and that is enough for now. So I leave you the link to my original post. I imagine your comments, but that is okay. I accept them. I will see you later. Goodbye. Original post, February 2020. I am 39 years old, and I have been with my husband for 10 years, 6 of them married. The passion in our marriage has decreased in intensity. It has not completely disappeared. There is still something left, but in my opinion it is very little to keep me in the relationship. Although we still feel love for each other, the reason that brought us together now seems to be what will separate us. We are both passionate about our jobs, at least at the beginning we were. The problem is not me, it is more on my husband's side. His job drains his energy too much. He says he is in control, but his stress has made me feel unsatisfied, and I do not know how to rekindle that passion, because no matter how hard I try, my husband simply cannot. At first I thought it was the increase in work, but after that another event happened that sank my husband even more. We do not have children, but our pets are an important part of our lives. As I said before, our professional careers are demanding and prevent us from spending more time together during the week. I arrive and try to wait for him, but his job is very far away and he almost always finds me asleep. Despite this, we share interests like exercising. We do not do it much anymore, but sometimes we have moments of training. We also eat healthily and enjoy comedy and superhero movies. We work well as a team at home. I cook, he cleans, and so on. However, I often feel lonely, and when I seek affection, he sometimes denies it to me. Our intimacy has been reduced to intimate encounters once a week. We both want more, but our schedules prevent it. At first I used to wait for him, but now I fall asleep almost instantly upon being in my bed. All these things make it difficult. In addition, my husband has been struggling with alcoholism and depression, which were caused by the loss of his parents. I feel that our relationship is a trigger for his relapses. Although he has managed to stay sober for more than 60 days on several occasions, stress sometimes leads him to buy a bottle of alcohol. He has not overdone it with drinking in years, but it is a constant struggle. My husband comes home stressed and in a bad mood at times. On some occasions his bad mood wakes me up. I have suggested that he change jobs because I feel that his job only makes him miserable, but he believes that he is not good for anything other than what he does. I have come to think that he tortures himself with work because of his parents' death. I feel disillusioned with him and our relationship. Now, here comes the problem that brings me here. Recently, a divorced friend, whom I will call L, 40 years old, has started to flirt with me. Now that he is separated and knows from my friends that my marriage is in freefall, he is free to meet whomever he wants. Elegant and classy, someone I never thought would be interested in me. I am more common. I do not have the intellectual capacity of his ex-wife. Even so, we became friends during a Labor Day activity. We have not crossed the physical line, but I think we are not very far from doing so. His attentions have given me butterflies in my stomach, something I have not felt in a long time. Do not misunderstand me, please. I love my husband deeply. He is handsome and intelligent, and I respect him a lot, but I need more from him. I need love and affection, and he is not fulfilling that part, which is important. I know his attitude has to do with the loss of his parents, but he does not let himself be helped. He simply does not want to talk about it. He refuses to have a conversation in which he can open up and cry, and he takes refuge in work and sometimes in alcohol. So, this will sound horrible, but I want to be honest. I am considering having an affair with Elle, but I do not want to do it without trying to fix my marriage and help my husband in whatever way I can. I want to win him back. As I already said, he is handsome and intelligent, and I do not want to make a mistake and have another woman take him. But at the same time, this loneliness in my marriage is destroying me inside. I want to help him, but if that does not work, then I will seek attention and affection from my divorced friend and let whatever has to happen happen. So, how do I approach this with my husband if he does not want to talk about what makes him miserable? I do not want to hurt him, but I feel unsatisfied in my marriage and I do not know how to handle these feelings. I need to find a way to rekindle the passion with my husband and at the same time manage my emotions towards him in a way that does not damage my marital relationship. Post 3. 1 week later. What a stir my post has caused. Thank you all for your comments, but I will not answer any of them directly because I have not come here to ask for advice. I just want a little attention with my story. My last partner systematically cheated on me with 4 different women, 2 from his work, his ex-wife, and a friend of mine from where we lived. I had good friends in that community, but I would always see the ex-wife and my ex-best friend, even if I did not want to. Only by staying at home without going out would I not run into them. But that was impossible. My ex-friend worked with me, and my ex's ex-wife has a business next to my old job. I had no idea what was happening behind my back, but after I first discovered that my ex-friend was sleeping with my partner, I tried to fix things. She left work for a short period of time, then she came back. I found out about my ex-partner's affair with his ex from her son. One morning I was waiting for the business to open. My partner's ex arrived in her car. She got out, the child too. She enters her business, the child too, but then he comes out and tells me that his dad and his mom kiss when my partner visited them. That is okay. I told the child and he left. I was sure that she had sent him to tell me that. In the evening, I checked my ex-partner's phone and discovered their conversation. They were definitely sleeping together. I confronted him. He denied everything. But then he accepted that sometimes he went to her house a little drunk and surely something had happened, but that it was never intentional or planned. Despite how stupid that excuse sounded, I stayed in the relationship and the reason was similar to the one my ex-husband had at the time. I felt guilty for having cheated on him and for pretending that I was looking for a solution to our problem, when in reality, I had already crossed the line a little over 2 months ago. So, as you must have already realized, I was not honest with what I initially published. To tell the truth, I should have written that post about 2 months earlier. In reality, I just wanted to pretend that I wanted to seek help and advice. I do not know why I did it, maybe to ease my conscience, or because I wanted to have an alibi in case my husband asked if I ever sought help for us. A little history of what happened with my husband was that when we met we both lived in the same city. He still lived with his parents, but he had plans to become independent. The problem was that he is an only child and his parents worried a lot about him. That is why, when he and I started making serious plans, we planned to move out of the city to put some distance between his parents, who meddled in everything, and us. We got married, everything was fine. His parents visited us 3 times a year, which was not intrusive, but my husband always felt bad about moving away from them. Then, one day they were coming for my husband's birthday, and a driver cut them off, which caused them to crash head-on with another vehicle, with both of them dying instantly. Although my husband had nothing to do with what happened, guilt began to surface in him over the months and years, to the point of torturing himself with his work, taking on more responsibilities that only made him miserable. His inability to face what he was feeling, his inability to talk even with the therapist about what was happening, made him isolate himself more and more. When I asked him for a divorce, he was already starting to drink more frequently again. I did not want to go through that stage again. This divorced colleague appeared. I sent him a message, and we started flirting. This revived my soul a little. I am not going to deny it. It was different from what was waiting for me at home. Every night, I managed to maintain a certain balance between my life with my husband and my work life. But one day my husband did not come up to the room to sleep. I found him in the living room completely drunk. It was 6:30 in the morning, and he was completely drunk. I went into the kitchen and saw a door to the cleaning supplies open. It was almost full of liquor bottles. I do not know when he bought them. I only know that it was already an indication that we would go back to how things were before, to his depression. For the first time I considered divorce. Having Elle nearby, telling me that I should not put up with living like this anymore, that if my husband did not help himself first, I would not be able to help him, sped things up. I tried for a month to convince my husband to throw away the drink and seek help for himself again, but it was useless. Maybe I did not do my best. Maybe I just wanted to fulfill the obligation of offering him a different path. The last week of that month, I threw away the drinks, and that night, he slapped me for doing it. I left the house that night and looked for Elle. We slept together that night. I did not return to my house for 2 days. I was trying to get my husband to seek help, but not with the same intensity, nor committing to be with him in that process. A month passed, and I wrote my first post. I did not update it because I would have had to tell the truth about what happened afterwards. I had already been cheating on my husband for 2 months, but I did not want to leave him in that state. The distance made him reconsider, and when he showed a sign of wanting to improve things, I told him I wanted a divorce. He asked me to reconsider my decision. He said we still had a chance to fix things. He promised he would never raise his hand to me again. He promised a long-term change. He even promised to have children, something we had planned, but which we had to postpone with what happened these years. I told him I would think about it, but that I needed to leave the house. He accepted. 3 weeks passed, and I sent him the divorce papers. My lawyer took care of the rest. I did not see my husband until the final signing of the papers. He did not look well. He had lost weight. He had pronounced dark circles under his eyes. It seemed like he had not slept in days. He was wearing unirond and somewhat dirty clothes. It made me very sad to see him like that, but I could not do anything for him anymore. The signing was in a neutral place, in a coffee shop with our lawyers present. He did not say anything. He did not ask anything, but I told his lawyer that I already had another partner. Excited, I moved into my new life with Elle. At first things went well for us, but our differences finished us. Elle insulted me many times. He would say that I was less intelligent than a donkey and that my job could be done by anyone without any training. That was the reason for our breakup, but I put up with it for almost 3 years. He often compared me to his ex-wife, the intellectual woman. With her he could talk about any topic, but with me he could only talk about gossip and banalities. Sometimes he would ask me such difficult questions that I had gotten used to telling him, "You know, I do not know about that." In other aspects we were compatible, but he wanted someone with whom he could talk about any topic and have a good conversation. I was not that person by a long shot. During my time with him, I tried to be useful to him in other aspects, in the house, in bed, but where he had the best time was with his intellectual friends talking about books and political matters. There I was just a woman who brought the drinks and appetizers. Even once, while I was in the kitchen, I heard him say that he would replace me without much thought if I neglected my work in his house and my duties as a partner. I endured humiliations. I was his unpaid employee until I discovered that he had started talking to his ex-wife again. At first he said it was just a friendly chat. I believed his pretext, but after a few months I found out that he had gone out with her. He had bought her 2 tickets for an event that I did not go to, but when I saw the photos on his social media, I saw his ex-wife with him. He said he had met her at that event and that he did not take me because the tickets were for him and his colleague. From that day on I was more attentive to his movements. But before I could discover anything, he asked me to leave his house. He ended the relationship. He said it had been nice, but everything has an end, and ours was today. He gave me 1 day to find a place to go. I asked him if he was sleeping with his ex. He denied it at first. Then he said yes, that I should not insist because he had already gone back to her. I asked a friend to let me stay at her house for a while. I was depressed for a few months. I went to therapy. I found a room, and I moved in. I was still working, but my performance dropped. I did not see my ex, but I knew he was there. So I decided to leave. I submitted my resignation. I was looking for a job, but I did not find anything. I decided to change fields. That is how I met my last ex. Before making the decision to change jobs, I looked for my ex-husband. An apology from me would not hurt. Literally, my legs were shaking when I stood at his door, in the same house where he and I had lived. I really was not so sure about visiting him, but I had no information about him after the divorce. He had changed his number and had not posted anything on his social media for a while. I did not want to ask anyone about him. I did not want them to think I was looking for a reconciliation. I just wanted to know how he was and apologize for the way I left him. I knocked on the door, and a young girl of 17 years old maybe came out. I asked her about my ex-husband. She said she did not know who he was. Then she called her mom. The woman said that my ex-husband had rented them the house and that they had not seen him for a year and a half, but they communicated with him when something was wrong with the house, and he would send someone to fix things. I asked her if they knew where he was. They did not know where, but that when he gave them the keys to the house, he was with a blonde woman and a child in his car. I thanked her and said goodbye to her. Okay, I said, if he is moving on, I should do the same. But I made the mistake of falling in love with an imbecile, and all of this has brought me to this day. I already have a job in a company that is just starting. I have returned to my same field as when I was married. I will start a serious search for my ex-husband. I just want to know how he did. I know you are going to judge me for that, but what I am going to do, everyone would do in my place. Besides, it is not a big deal. I just want to know how he is. Maybe he became a dad. Anyway, in short, I cheated on my husband. Do you understand me, Edit? The intellectual guy turned out to be a complete idiot who left me and kicked me out to go back to his ex-wife. I looked for my husband again and discovered he was with a blonde and that maybe he already has a son or maybe it is the woman's son. So, do I regret leaving my husband? Well, yes, the truth is I do, although maybe leaving him was what he needed to get out of where he was. I mean, maybe I did him a great favor by leaving him and that depresses me. Maybe I was his problem. I do not know, but it is something I would like to know and I have a plan to do it. I will visit the woman who is still living in my ex-husband's house and I will ask her for his number. I hope she does not deny it to me, but I need to know if it was I who did not know how to wait. I believe so, but I want to hear it from him. So read it, what do you think? At my age, will I be able to have children? Should I look for my husband and apologize to him? Thank you for your answers. If you are enjoying these stories, leave us a like and share to reach more people. Story 2. I do not want to sound tragic, but what is happening is very serious and I have no one to talk to without being judged. My best friend is in the hospital and, yes, her condition is serious. She is not waking up, but it is a given that her life can never be the same. Her family does not allow me to be with her, much less see her. I feel very guilty for what has happened. I am also paying the consequences of our actions, but I need a place to tell my truth. Neither Amber nor I are bad girls. We are respectable women with a desire to advance in life. Proof of this is that Amber was already engaged to her second serious boyfriend, and I was also in a 4-year relationship. I also had marriage plans. 5 months ago, my best friend and I graduated from university. We were both the first women in our families to achieve a university degree. We are from a community that has not had many opportunities over time. We would follow the plan offered by the tour package to the letter. But on day 4, which was supposed to be the farewell of our tour, things went wrong. Amber got a stomach ache. The nightclub failed in its organization. That last day was horrible. It was still early. Amber felt better around 9 at night, and we all, in general, felt that we could not leave like that. So I suggested going to the city center for a couple of hours, and then coming back. Our flight was scheduled for day 5 at 7 in the evening. If we drank a little, we would have time to sleep and go to the airport refreshed. On the way, while we were looking for a place to have a drink, Amber was talking to her boyfriend on a video call. I also spoke with my boyfriend. I told him what we were thinking of doing, and he said it was fine, that we should always be together. Amber bumps into a guy, her phone falls to the floor and breaks in two. The guy apologized. He tried to pay Amber for the phone, but she also took her share of the blame for being distracted by her boyfriend's call. While she was talking to the guy about fixing the phone, because she needed to tell her boyfriend she was okay, we realized we were tired of walking and we already wanted to go into a place to rest. So this guy got into the conversation and said he knew a bar nearby with a good atmosphere and good music, plus good drinks at a good price. Amber asked for my phone to talk to her boyfriend while the other girls and I decided if we would accept the guy's suggestion. We ended up accepting and walked another 2 streets. We arrived at a rustic but nice bar. We could not suspect anything bad. The atmosphere was good, but an hour passed and the bar filled up with people. The guy introduced us to his friends, and we were in a group of almost 20 people, men and women. We only remember the first 2 hours because after that we do not remember anything. Somehow, They managed to get Amber and me out of the group. This part is the testimony of my friends, the other 3 girls. According to them, I was kissing the guy who broke Amber's phone, and she was with a blonde guy. We were all in a group together, but around midnight, they did not see us in the nightclub anymore. They thought we were at the hotel. They called us, and all the calls went to voicemail. Around 2 in the morning, they arrive at the hotel and find our things on the floor. According to the investigations and what is seen in the hotel's security videos, Amber and I arrived at the hotel with the 2 guys and 2 other women. They stole our things and took our passports. After a while, all of us are seen leaving the room in the hotel. When I woke up, I was in a cheap hotel, and it was obvious that I had had relations with the guy, who obviously was not there. The room was a double, and Amber was in the other bed. My phone was not there, and the worst thing is that Amber was not waking up. There were drinks on the floor, condoms and underwear that was not ours. They were, it seems, from the other women who were with us at the nightclub. I do not know why they would leave their intimate apparel. I got scared when Amber did not react. The hotel managers called the police and an ambulance. I dressed Amber and waited for them to come help us. Meanwhile, I was trying to communicate with a friend on Instagram from the phone of one of the girls who worked at the hotel, but they had already reported that we had disappeared. Both my family and Amber's already knew that we were untraceable and with all of our passports stolen. Things got very complicated. Everything from there on was chaos. The consulate gave us a lot of support and was able to process a provisional travel document that would allow us to leave the country. But for that we had to prove our identity, and we had no way to do so because they had stolen everything from us. IDs, passports, and we did not have digital copies. The most complicated case was mine and Amber's. She finally woke up, but after the toxicology results they told us that we had been given certain substances that made us vulnerable. My boyfriend and Amber's were already on their way along with some family members. Amber and I were scared. She would ask me what she was going to do when they arrived and found out what had happened. Neither of us had given our testimony yet, but we had to. The problem came when we both tried to hide that we were kissing these guys at the bar, but in our friend's testimony, they had already stated that both Amber and I were with these 2 guys as if we were romantic partners. We were both scared and did not know what to do. I know we only made things worse by trying to hide that we had relations with those guys, but in the end we had to tell the truth, and then each of us spoke with our respective partners and family. It was the most horrible thing I could have done. I know. My boyfriend ended the relationship with me at that moment. He blamed me for what happened to Amber. She could have suffered an overdose because of you, he said. I told him that I was not in control of my actions when things happened, but he said that I was before they put something in my drink and that I should not have accepted the invitation from a stranger in a place where the 5 of us were vulnerable. He held me responsible for everything. He stayed one more day, and then he went back home. He did not want to talk to me anymore. I begged him to forgive me. I begged for a chance. But for him, I had put myself at serious risk, not only myself, but my friends, especially Amber, who was about to get married. Before leaving, he told me that he did not hold a grudge against me or hate me, but he could not continue in a relationship with someone who was responsible for the end of her best friend's engagement and who had also slept with another man. For Amber, the situation was much worse. Her fiancé suspended all wedding plans. He did not leave. He waited for everything to be resolved, and then we went back home 10 days later. With the help of my boyfriend's phone's GPS, they managed to find my phone and Amber's, which had already been sold on the black market. My dad was extremely hard on me when he found out that the idea of going out for a drink was mine, that I said it was okay if we followed the guy to the bar. He and my mom were very strict that we should only go to the places recommended in the tour package. For Amber, the nightmare did not end. She went through a chronic stage of depression. Her family also accused me of sabotaging Amber's engagement. Everyone blamed me for everything. They forbade me from seeing her. I was able to communicate with her from another number. We talked, and she was very unwell. I wanted to help her, but I could not go near her house. I have felt terribly bad. I feel everyone blaming me for what is happening. My friends blame me for irresponsibly organizing the outing to the bar. I have had to close my social media and leave friends' chat groups because I was just being harassed. This has become a nightmare, and I cannot go on if Amber does not wake up and get better, and that is not something that is going to happen soon. Her boyfriend and she tried to fix things, but it did not work. He could not get over the fact that she had slept with another man, and he left her without saying anything. Just a simple message accusing her of destroying everything they could have achieved. The guy left the country, but he made it very clear to Amber that the relationship was over forever and that he hopes she will one day pay for what she did. Her family was with her when she received the message from her boyfriend. She, after reading the message and crying a little, asked everyone to leave her alone, that she needed to sleep. But when everyone left and she was alone, Amber walked and looked out the window that overlooks the garage of her house. It is a window that is on the 3rd floor, and you can already imagine what she did. Her family was on the 1st floor. They heard a scream and a thud outside the house. When they went out to see what had happened, they saw Amber on the floor. She is still breathing, but her condition is very serious. I feel that everything is my fault. If she does not recover, I do not know what I am going to do. I do not know how I am going to move on without my best friend. When they called me from the clinic to tell me what Amber had done, I wanted to die. I called her parents, but they blocked me. I arrived at the clinic. Her family, friends, everyone was devastated. Her mom had a mental breakdown. They did not let me get close to them. My friends told me it was better to wait outside, but that the news would not be good. It was already known beforehand that she has multiple fractures and a severe blow to the head. My life is paralyzed now. I do not understand how they could have left her alone. No one could stop Amber or see what she was planning to do. I do not know how to help. Her family does not want me near, and being far away is the worst. It kills me not to be able to be with her and not be able to do anything. I only know what my friends want to share with me. Other than that, I am organizing a fundraiser with my family and a few friends to raise funds for Amber's surgeries. She is going to need several. For now, she has already had 2 operations. My ex-boyfriend is actively collaborating, but he does not speak to me and does not want to know about me. In some way, he feels guilty. That is also what I have heard from his friends. I do not know why he feels that way. Maybe he could have prevented us from going out that night. Maybe he believes that. Amber's ex shows no signs, does not answer calls or messages, and I do not think he will show up here. They could blame him for the decision Amber made, and in fact they do blame him for leaving her so suddenly in the emotional state she was in. So what else can I do for Amber? My family tells me to move for a while, but I cannot do it. I cannot abandon Amber. But I cannot continue like this. I am not eating normally. I cannot sleep. I am not looking for a job when I should be. I will start going to therapy next week. My mom has already made an appointment, and she will take me herself because I will not go on my own. She knows it. I am that bad. I do not know what to expect. I do not know how Amber will be if she wakes up. Maybe the damage she suffered is permanent. I want to die. Not knowing what can happen is consuming me alive. Maybe therapy will give me a light to guide me, but I will definitely not abandon Amber.